we're going to be doing is changing the water pump in my 2005 Corvette with the help of Jan. I'm not taking it to the dealer because Maroney is the worst dealer mechanics I've ever seen in my life, so I figured I'd probably be better off doing it myself. I've never done it before, but we're going to give it a shot. Alright, let's take a look and see what we got. That doesn't look too complicated.
We're going to remove this first because he comes off the easiest. Number two, this guy. There's a safety on that, which is kind of a pain to get off. Then we're going to take this guy off, number three. Once you get him off, you can pull that back.
Okay, so now we're going to take this whole unit out. Alright, so we're missing. We got to get that repositioned because we don't want to have the coolant all over the driveway, and that will kill me. We're going to start with
this top one.
So we're using the driver again. It's a nut driver. It releases it. As you can see, slide that up.
Somebody's been in here because that's not the factory clamp.
And we're going to pull this off. That's not the clamp, factory clamp. I took it to the dealer and I got a clamp that's not a factory clamp. What's that tell you about the dealership? This little tool here helps us to get these hoses off because they can be stuck on there pretty good.
Okay. So, this is the messy part.
Pull this off, we're going to get a little leakage. Now, if we
Good.
drained it beforehand, we probably wouldn't. It's going to be hot too, so be careful. And there it goes.
We caught most of it in the pan, it looks like.
Which is nice.
Okay.
As you can see, we use an ingenious way of lifting the car up high enough so that we can get that pan under there. So next we're going to get that belt off there. We're going to get that tensioner, and we're going to use a socket so that we can push her down and pop that belt right off.
All right. Oh, did you see that?
Did it pop?
So I pulled off I put my 15 millimeter 1/4 inch on there, which is pretty small.
And it came right off. So, key thing, make sure you know where that belt goes, and so that you don't have it on there the wrong way when you put it back on.
Okay. We have to remove this tensioner, and we have to drain the coolant out of the bottom radiator hoses too. So let's loosen this bottom guy, who happened to be loose already for some reason. Sounds like a lot of it didn't
Came right off, and it's dripping right down into the pan. Hopefully.
We're having fun. We're going to remove the belt tensioner now. It's 2 15 millimeters. I'm using this 1/4 inch, which I used to break it open. So we're going to pull this top one off. Okay.
Alright, we got the tensioner off.
Okay.
Put her over here. We're going to need that because we're going to put that one on the other water pump that we bought.
Okay.
So there's your tensioner. There's your 2 bolts. And these 2 hoses were taken off for the heater hose.
Ooh.
And we're getting some fluid and it's hot. Okay, working on the other heater hose. Hoses are tough to get off, especially if they've been on there for a while. This car's got a couple miles on it. So
It's extremely warm outside. We're in Florida.
we're going to use a what? A 10 millimeter, did you say?
Yeah. And it's at 22 foot-pounds. So that's probably not so much. We should be able to do that with our 1/4 inch ratchet. Number 1 loose. Number 2 loose.
Number 2 loose.
Number 3 loose. Makes me think my 1/4 inch is a good tool for the job. If you look at the tension on there, not so much tension.
As you can see, it's very tight in there. That's why you got to have the proper tools.
Mildly time consuming.
Alright, here we go. We are now pulling the water pump out. Almost done.
Still very warm.
Oh, you got it. Hey! Alright, so here's our water pump. This is our old water pump. As you can see, it's a little getting dark out here.
There's our old gasket.
So what we're going to do is we're going to scrape where the old gaskets were to make sure there's no residue on there. Go ahead, Jan. Tell us what we're doing.
There's just a little bit of crap in there. We don't want that new gasket to seat bad.
And we are just about at the halfway point. But we would have done this earlier, but we went paddle boarding or paddle surfing instead, and then decided to do it as it was getting dark. Which is probably not a good idea. I suggest doing it in the light of day. Less mosquitoes, much easier to do. Alright, so explain what you're doing now.
here's what we're going to try and do. We're going to try and put this back into place with the gaskets on there. And then tighten 1 or 2 bolts on there, and hopefully it'll stay in place.
Okay, so what he's done is he's put the gasket on, and he's put the bolts in through the holes to hold the gaskets. And we're going to try to set that in there.
And all you guys are going to say, wow, how did he do that?
Look, anybody can install a water pump in the light of day. It takes a real expert to do it in the middle of the night.
With no tools.
Drunk. And as you can see, it isn't the easiest thing in the world.
This is like a game of operation.
It's a tight squeeze. They don't leave you very much room with this big V8. 400 horsepower.
Okay.
LS2.
Okay, looks like the gasket's in the correct spot.
Looks like it.
And so we just need to tighten this up. Of course, I used a 10mm 1/4" ratchet, so
who knows what we're gonna get.
all I can tell you is that I will probably not over tighten it.
I would totally guess that's probably the truth.
But what we want to do is we want to get it all even and on first, and then tighten, which would be the same as the recommended
specs.
Well, we haven't had any in totally yet. We're just getting them snugged up so that we can make sure it's in the right place and everything's ready to get tight.
So the first thing that you do is get her on there. Make sure you got your gaskets in right.
You don't want to cross thread anything, so nothing should be hard to turn.
So here we are, Tom's garage. As you can see, I took a light from the living room, brought it out and shoved it in there.
I think anybody with basic tool use could do this, if you know how to use a ratchet. Now when you're snugging these up, I did the snug and now I'm doing the tighten. Now, I'm using a 1/4" wrench with not a lot of torque, so I know that I can't over tighten it. So I'm just going to go right about there, because I think that's where it was when I took it off. You have to remember the
specs are 11 and 22 pounds?
Yeah. This guy's still in the way. I'll give you a close-up of my strategy here.
Squeeze her so that it opens it up. Push her right back on, and then release that grip, and it's nice and tight.
You want it to be in the same place it was. So
yeah.
This
Do you think we got them right?
Yeah.
I hope so.
5/16 for the
5/16
with an extension on our 1/4" ratchet. We're going to get that facing straight up, and we're going to do this till it's snug, and then make sure that's on all the way. Give it a little tightening, because you don't want it to fall off while you're driving.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good. Okay. So now we put on 3 hoses, the heater hoses and that one there coming out of the radiator. All right, looking good. Okay, next.
We've come to the point where we reinstall
the tensioner.
The tensioner.
And explain what the tensioner does.
It keeps the belt tight.
Okay.
Now, hopefully our belt hasn't fallen off of its other things. Otherwise, we're going to have to look up online how to reinstall the belt.
And there is the tensioner.
So this is going to take a bit of tension to get that on there, because it's one of those things you don't want to fall off. On this. Needs
So
to
we
be
got
about right there. So that I
pulling
can just
it down.
on it.
Tensioner pushes down, and then the belt should just slip right up over it, huh? Okay,
Looks
so
like it goes down over. Looks correct to me.
It looks like we may have the belt on properly. Do you want to double check and make sure?
Yeah, we're going to use the flashlight to get in there.
Okay, we're going to get the flashlight. We're going to go down there and make sure we get everything right.
Clamp in the right position, which it's not. There we go.
So you can get at the nut driver, can get at that the head of that thing right there.
We took off these 4 hoses, 1, 2, 3, 4. We took them, they're back on now. All of them are tightened. The 2 15mm are torqued down there pretty hard. The 6 10mm are back on and tightened pretty much correctly. Minus the correct tool that we didn't have, so we
improvised.
And now it's time to reinstall the
air cleaner. Here we go.
Anyhow, you want to make sure that, like, the top looks fine, but sometimes the bottom gets caught and then it's all messed up down there. So you got to make sure that it's on there correctly. This is the thing that keeps it from popping off.
All right, but what do you call that plug right there?
Oh, well, it's just a plug, but it's for the airflow meter. This is the airflow meter right here.
Okay,
So
that's on there good?
It looks like it's on there pretty good.
All right, good.
Whew.
Airflow
Now we
meter.
need to add some fluid.
Now we got one other thing we got to put on.
Oh yeah, we have one more.
Over here. Don't want to forget this, whatever this thing is. Did you already put it on?
Got this.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. I'm gonna put that on top of the air. All right, there we go. Looks good.
We're not quite ready there yet.
We're gonna put this coolant in there. I think that's the right stuff. It's orange when it goes in.
Now when you pour this, you want it to be on its side like this, because then the air bubbles don't bubble and then you don't miss the hole.
So you want to try to get it in that hole, not all over your driveway. That's what you're saying.
Yes. Now we filled it up to the top of the hole, but of course that's not full.
And the old fluid, what we're going to do is we're going to pour that back into a one of the
We could reuse it, but it could have contaminants.
yeah. We
And this is a nice car, so.
Might as well just use get new. And there it is. We got it out of there. You can see it's a lot of fluid.
It looks
So
like we got most of it. We spilled a little bit.
a little bit on the thing. We'll screw that down tomorrow. You don't want the cat drinking it because it will kill the cat. All right, there's our temperature gauge.
No AC.
So we got the heat on. We're looking at the coolant temperature right now. It's 230.
It's rising.
As soon as we feel heat coming out of there, we're going to know that it's working. So as you can see, the temperature now is dropping. And that's what we want. The heat's coming on. It's fogging up the window. And down goes the temperature. That means that our new water pump is working. As you can see, the temperature's dropping. We're at 210 now. You got the heat fully on at 90. Explain why we do that.
It goes through the heater core and it gets the whole system flowing so that you don't have any air pockets. And if you don't feel any hot air coming out, that means that you don't have a full system.
Okay, here we are doing our test run. Going around the block. Now we're down to 205 as we drive. Put the AC on, it'll work great. Temperature stayed about 203. So I think we're looking pretty darn good on this new water pump replacement. Not that hard to work on a Corvette. How come Marooney can't figure it out?